Why we can't have nice
I've got
things.
I've, I've got to press the damn button twice. I don't understand that. Welcome back to the Talking Average Fitness Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sam Burns. If I look weird, it's because I look weird. And I'm joined, as always, by my bearded, I'm not jealous at all,
Hmm.
compatriot, Mr. Kevin McCarthy. Kevin, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing good, Sam. How are you?
I'm cold. My whole face is cold.
Well, yeah. Um, I'm outside and I'm quite warm right now because I'm in California. So, you know,
How warm is it where you are?
right now it's like 58 degrees at 7 a.m.
58 at 7 a.m. It's 10 a.m. here, and it's 39.
Sick.
So
Can't wait
excited.
to come back tomorrow.
Cool. Thanks for telling me.
Yeah, sweet.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Oh
Um,
man.
what the hell were we just talking? We're talking about CrossFit being dumb.
Yeah, we were talking about CrossFit being dumb.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
yeah,
admittedly, they're doing some. It's not that it's dumb. It's just why.
misguided.
Yeah, well, maybe it's not even misguided. It's just fucking confusing to me.
Yeah. I mean, like we talked about this in the previous episode, few previous. I don't know where we are.
I don't know.
A few episodes ago
I'm a
about
dad. I don't even know what day it is.
that. Neither do I. Um, that's another thing is like being on vacation, being somewhere else. Um, like I don't know what day it is.
Yeah. You stop
Um,
thinking about those things.
yeah. Uh, where was it? Just we were talking in about like pull up modifications, and you talking about like a banded strict pull up being a bad modification for a pull up,
Yeah.
or maybe not bad, but like just a not optimal option for a pull up. And we are talking about how like sometimes it might not be a scaling option for the athlete, but it might be more of a scaling option for the trainer as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, real quick synopsis is not that it's bad. It's just that it doesn't do what we want it to do in the way that we traditionally think. So, like if you're going to do strict pull ups, that has a certain effect on the body. When
Yep.
you add the band, it changes the effect on the body. And so, there's not
Yep.
necessarily a carryover in using a band to help you get more pull ups. Like there's a disconnect there. Anyway,
Yep.
continue.
Um, So yeah, anyways, we start in my blind rage sent Sam multiple things. And um one of them was so CrossFit training, which is the Instagram account for the training department for CrossFit, posted like the workout of the day on Friday last week was
Fran
Fran.
Friday.
Yeah, it was Fran.
Yep.
Phenomenal benchmark. I hate it with every ounce of my being because it hurts.
Because
Also,
thrusters.
also fuck thrusters. Um, and
Oh,
so the CrossFit Training Instagram posted scaling options for the pull up for Fran. Being like, hey, here's ways you can scale Fran. And the
yep.
first one was a banded pull up.
Yep.
The second one was like an isometric hold at the top of the pull up.
Yep.
I didn't
Which
even make it to the third one because I just had to scroll
was
past it. I was
negatives.
angry. Yeah. Okay. So um, I just said to Sam, like, these scaling options are bullshit for Fran. Not that a negative isn't a great scaling option for certain strict things,
Where
but
is it? Where's your exact comment?
I don't know.
In
Um,
all caps, these are not appropriate scaling options for Fran.
yes. Yes.
Yes.
In bold font.
Yes.
Um, and the reason why is because if we think about this, not even just like the movement, like, because yes, if you're doing a negative, that's an upper body pulling movement. If we're doing a banded strict pull up, it's an upper body pulling movement. When we're doing pull ups in Fran, it's an upper body pulling movement. However, when we're scaling something, we're trying to stick to the stimulus and the desired outcome of the workout. Fran should kick your dick in and leave you like sprawled
Dickless.
on the floor. Yeah. Yeah. Leave you sprawled on the floor for at least 10 minutes afterwards, just with the metabolic punch in the face that happens in that workout. So
Yep.
I'm looking for your heart rate to be at 3,000 the entire time. As soon as you take 30 seconds to get your fucking foot in a band,
Ugh.
that goes away.
Yeah.
because you're trying to like you're on another planet from doing 21 thrusters. You're trying to get your fucking leg up in the band and like scooch it down while pulling your leg up, and
Yes.
up the band like gripped wrong on the rubber of my shoe, so I had to like take it
Ugh.
off and replace it. And it's like it's a process. 30 seconds go by, you catch your breath, then you start doing strict pull-ups, which not that they aren't challenging
Sure.
muscularly,
Yeah.
but you get to catch your breath and your heart rate goes back down. And it just lessens the overall. And I was talking with Sam just before we started, and people can feel free to agree or disagree.
Yes.
Something like a kip swing, jumping pull-ups, ski calories would all be better scaling options for the pull-up for Fran than a fucking banded strict pull-up or negatives, because we're looking at the stimulus. If you finish 21 thrusters and I was like, all right, Sam, go ski 21 calories.
Yeah.
Like you're using, like, it's a different movement pattern. Yes. You're still involving the lats and upper body and your midline and everything to get that ski fucking cruising. But the heart rate and like breathing effect is the same as it would be for a kipping pull-up. And even if you kept the reps, whether you change the reps for the ski or kept the reps the same, I've told some people this where I'm like, hey, we're going to swap this movement for this.
Yep.
Because it's a better stimulus. It's going to like fuck up the time thing. If normally your Fran is 3 minutes and
you're going to have a 5.5 minute Fran.
Exactly. You do 21, 15, and 9 ski calories. It's going to be 5 to 5.5 minutes.
15, 12, 9. Let's be honest. 15, 12, 9.
No, I'm saying if we do 21, 15, 9.
Oh, if. Okay. Yeah, not if. Go do.
Right. If.
Yes.
Then like that's going to mess up your time. But like I've done that to athletes where I'm like, hey, this is going to make your workout a bit slower just because of how long this movement can take. I don't care. We don't care, because it's not about the time. It's about the stimulus and how it can kind of like push your fitness forward. Yes. And so for ski calories, that would be like, you try and bring the reps down to a point where the athlete can like sprint them. So like if I'm giving this to Sam and Sam can't sprint 21 calories, I'll be like, all right, let's go 15. Hopefully you're doing some practice rounds in there. Yeah. If Sam can't sprint 15 calories, maybe we do like 12, 9, and 6, I'm
getting a little lightheaded imagining sprinting 21 ski cals.
Oh, dude, it's the best. It's the best. I did some like ski.com had programmed a while ago. This is back when during like Ben Smith's block, it was like 6 rounds of 15 calorie ski and 400-meter run, like on a 4-minute clock for 6 rounds.
Whoa.
So like 15 cal ski, 400-meter run, and then you rest the remainder, whatever the 4 minutes is.
Like a 1 minute, 15-second rest.
Oh no, you got to maximize that thing. I sprinted those, like I'd turn these into like just hurt myself intervals. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
By the way, that's the face that I make when I have to do 400-meter repeats.
Yeah. But yeah, so we were talking about and it came up because of scaling in general. And I'm not gonna like call people out, but I've been like kind of keeping track of .com. I'm gonna like not by name, but I'm gonna call some stuff out where I keep track of my .com stuff on Beyond the Whiteboard. And I am traveling, so I'm in California. Fran pops up. I go, well, thank God that's on this day, because then I don't have to do it with a 95-pound bar. Yay. Yep. Not that it really was a yay, because what I did was equally hard.
Dumbbell thrusters.
Yeah, fuck yeah. So
I love and hate dumbbell thrusters.
Yeah. I'm with you. But my brother and sister-in-law have some like workout equipment at their house, and they have a garage that doesn't have a car in it. And so I'm like, perfect. So the dumbbells they have are 25 pounds. And so I'm like, okay, it's a bit lighter than what I would use to like simulate a 95-pound bar. Sure. So let's bump the reps a little bit. I did 30, 20, and 10 of dumbbell thrusters. And then they have a, like, I'm going to call it a shelf. It's like a shelf, but the way it's attached to, it's like hanging from 2x4s from the ceiling. Yeah. So it's like pretty sturdy. Yeah. So I just held on the edge of that and did pull-ups.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have a space or a means to do any other type of pull.
Yep.
In my head, I thought about maybe doing like a dumbbell row, but then I'm like, with the 25-pound dumbbell row, like, I don't know how much challenge would get in there. So I dropped the reps down, did 15, 10, and 5. So half the thruster reps of strict pull-ups on that. Again, we're going to call it a shelf.
Yep.
And was it perfect? Absolutely not. Did fitness happen? Absolutely. Because
Yes.
my rule for myself was you have to do the dumbbell thrusters unbroken. And after I said at 30, I was like, okay, this is terrible. The gripping on
Why
the
am
shelf
I
was
the way that
interesting
I
because
am?
you can only get your hand like this.
Yeah.
You can't like actually wrap your fingers around something. So I'm basically
yeah.
kind of like just rock climber hanging on my fingers
Yeah.
doing strict pull-ups. That was
You
interesting.
didn't go for the full wrist. You half the hand. Is that what you did?
No, I
You
didn't
could
go.
have false
Yeah,
gripped that bitch.
I should have gotten my full wrist on that sucker. I don't know how. That'd have been real weird. But anyways, would have been weird. Could have been more effective.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I was just half handing that sucker, just fingers over. So that was interesting on the grip, interesting on the pulling.
Mm-hmm.
But fitness happened, and so I
Yep.
go into Beyond the Whiteboard and I log it as this. Is also something that gets me is I'll log something and like all the results pop up as soon as you like pull up the thingy. So I'm
Yeah.
just like scrolling through, seeing what people are getting, and someone will put something as like an RX time, and I'm like, wow, that's wild. And I'll click on it, and all the movements will be modified. Like he'll
Yeah.
have changed the loads, be like the barbell was supposed to be 185, I did it at 115, and instead of 30-inch box jumps, I did 20-inch box jumps. But then it'll be logged as RX. I'm like, that's not how that works. But
So specific to Beyond the Whiteboard, I know why they do that.
why is that?
Because Beyond the Whiteboard, so one of the fantastic things about Beyond the Whiteboard is it group sources data to provide you a fitness level,
Right.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
this whole like fitness level thing that the Open did, like
Yeah.
Beyond the Whiteboard's been doing that for like almost a decade.
Yep.
So you cannot get a score for a fitness level if you don't log something
Log it
as
as RX.
prescribed. So if and it doesn't. So for example, let's say I did the workouts Fran, right?
Yep.
If instead of 21:15:9, 95-pound barbell thruster and kipping pull-ups, I did 30-20-10, 25-pound dumbbell thrusters each hand,
Mm-hmm.
and 10, 15,
15,
10,
10, 5.
5
Yep.
strict pull-ups, right? I could log it as Fran scaled, and then I would get nothing.
Yeah.
Or, and this is the better choice for anybody who uses Beyond the Whiteboard, you set it as a new workout. You create a new workout, you structure it the way you did it, and then you log it as prescribed. You won't get a score for Fran, but Beyond the Whiteboard will take into account all of the movements. And if you mark anything as scaled, it doesn't take anything into account in terms of what your fitness score is.
Well, so that's my point. Is they'll log Fran
Yeah.
as prescribed
Yes.
with an empty barbell and ring rows. They'll change the movements, but it's still listed as Fran.
Yeah.
And it's
With like
listed as
with like a 3-minute time.
Yeah. Anyways, but I logged my thing and I'm like kind of scrolling through, seeing what people are getting, and I saw some shit, people.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
like,
so we should probably preface this by saying, I promise there's a point. This isn't
a
another
point.
hot takes episode.
Yeah,
where
there is a point.
There is a point, and describe what you saw, and then let's talk about it a little bit.
Okay, so there was multiple things. So it if you just look on like the results page of Beyond the Whiteboard, it lumps male and female scores all together. But then you can click on like the leaderboard and it like ranks them based on time or reps or whatever the workout is, supposed to be.
Yep.
And I'm scrolling on through some results and just kind of like just seeing where people are at.
Yep.
And saw some good times. And then there were some that I was like, what are we doing here? Because when we look at Fran as a workout, that sucker should take 7 minutes at the most, 8 minutes at the most.
Yep.
Should be a sprint. So as a coach with my coach hat on, I'm looking for times between like 4 and 7 minutes would be like a perfectly executed, you did your version of Fran properly.
Yep.
I think the highest score I saw was 23 minutes.
Yeah, 23 minutes as prescribed. I'm looking at the
Yeah,
whiteboard right now.
as prescribed.
Let me
And
get
I'm
a board
sitting
ready.
there and I'm like, but like actually as prescribed, not like logging it as prescribed and changing stuff. Like actually, this person did 95-pound bar and kipping pull-ups, and it took them 23 minutes.
Yep.
And I sat there and I was like, what are we doing?
Mhm.
What it like, sure, it comes back to that old school CrossFit thing of like, yeah, but I did it RX. It's like, doesn't matter if you did it RX if the workout was terrible and you got a terrible stimulus. It's like at 23 minutes for Fran, like that's essentially for that person
Yeah.
with how like because I know what that looks like. I know how that's going to go.
Right.
That's it. You essentially did a strength and a skill day, kind of like mushed together. Like
Yeah, I see what
you're
you mean.
doing your thrusters like in sets of 3 and taking a 90-second break in between. You know,
Potentially.
like that's a potentially, and then you're doing
So
there was some yeah. Go ahead.
what's interesting about this, and there is one athlete. This athlete had 23 minutes. Right.
Yep.
This is not the first time they've done Fran,
Nope.
and previously,
Oh, that was a different athlete. I think that had like the PR you're
no,
talking
no,
about.
no. This is
Oh, it
different.
was okay. The 23
So
one.
previously they had a 9-minute Fran. So something is going on here, right? And I'm not sure what I could guess a bunch of different things, but like the data is telling me like they added 14 minutes and 39 seconds to their Fran time, right?
Yeah.
This may or may not be a person who has, and now we're coming to like the crux of this whole issue. This may or may not be a person who has ever been in an affiliate,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And um and like there was a time when I would say confidently like, oh, if you go to an affiliate, like you're it's going to be different. I can't say that anymore. Like I've seen enough examples
Yeah.
of affiliates doing some coaches doing some squirrely shit that I can't say that anymore.
Yeah.
And there was another guy who what was his time? This guy.
12 something, and it was like
Yeah,
a five
it was
minute
12
PR.
minutes and 12 seconds, and it was 5 minutes faster than his last time. So he had a 17-minute Fran, roughly,
Yeah.
and then he improved it to a 12-minute Fran, right?
Yeah.
And so,
Which again, as I had said to Sam, I was like, it's like getting a 12-minute Fran and having that be a 5-minute PR. Like, good for you. You made progress. You got better, but also like good for you, kinda, because you still missed the stimulus. You're muted.
thank you.
You and all
Well,
your buttons.
and so many buttons. Yes, they missed the stimulus, and it's totally a valid argument to be like, um, so what, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I did fitness,
Yep.
and I'm doing CrossFit, right?
Yep.
I go back and forth on stuff like this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm trying to, as I do this, I'm trying to separate out who I am and what my lineage, for lack of a better term, is um, about. People are pinging me. I'm like, I don't talk to me right now. This is more important.
Yeah.
As long as it's not my wife.
Yeah.
You know, leaving aside my upbringing as a coach and my upbringing as a athlete in the CrossFit space, when I look at something like that, I keep thinking it's like 2004 all over
Yeah.
again,
Yep.
where people didn't know any better.
No.
And you can go back to one of our early episodes, listen to Pat Barber be like, the only place you could do CrossFit in 2004 was CrossFit.com and
In your
your
garage.
garage.
Yep.
Like that was it. There were no affiliates. Like,
Right.
I mean, of course there were some affiliates. There was Greg and there was a handful of others, but relative to the number of people who were doing CrossFit, like there wasn't beyond the whiteboard. Like you went to the forum, you
Right.
dumped your time into the forum and got
Yeah.
accused of rep shaving, and shit
Yeah.
like that. And I look at something like this and I'm like, it's it's like knowing that science has progressed beyond a certain point. It's like we all have GPS, and then you go and you watch someone use a sextant,
Yep.
and you're like, okay, you
Yeah.
you got it done.
Yeah.
That 100% will work.
Yeah.
But
But
do you
why?
have to? Yeah, but
But
why?
why? But
Yeah,
why?
and so like I think to a certain extent for me it's I gotta manage my own baggage that I'm bringing into this and being like, because I'm so conditioned to think target stimulus, appropriate scaling options,
Yep.
modifications based on,
Based on
fucking
desired
injuries or range of
stimulus.
motion
Yep. Yep.
issues. And like that's so incredibly specific to what I do and who I am. But at the same time, one of the most CrossFit things I've seen recently was Hiller talking about like if your workouts are comfortable, you don't do CrossFit,
Yeah.
you know? And say what you want about Andrew Hiller. I think part of the reason a lot of people don't like him is because he's very, very open about reminding us of a time when CrossFit was incredibly counterculture.
Yep.
And it is to a lot of people's benefit that we are not as counterculture now, specifically financially.
Yep.
And he doesn't care about that.
Nope.
Nope. Yeah.
Yeah. It's I mean, that comes back to like I remember Dave put a post somewhere on Instagram about he had done a workout and he did it not for time.
Right.
And then Hiller basically hit with like, well, if it's not for time, then is it still CrossFit? Because in the level 1 manual, we're like, it's measurable, observable, repeatable. Like you put all these, there's a reason that we track load and times and whatnot is to get the
Yes.
data of it. And it's a very data driven methodology.
Yes,
And
it
so
is.
if you're doing a workout not for time, is that still CrossFit?
Yes.
And so, but he was just kind of like stirring the pot a little bit, and people like lost their minds in various different, degrees and directions,
Languages.
I guess, and languages.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's what he's doing. Like he's just kind of posing those things. Like if your workouts are comfortable, it's not CrossFit. If you're not at least keeping track of time, even if you're like, hey, I'm not gonna I need like a recovery something today, I'm not gonna push the pace. Like you can still keep track of the time type deal. Like if you're not keeping track of the time or the loading or whatever, then it's not CrossFit.
And I've done days where like from a mental health standpoint, like I just need to do something. Marcus Philly calls it autoregulation, where you don't look at the clock, you do things. You've got, I'm not majorly modifying things, but over the long-term time scale, the fact that I'm getting in and doing something is better than the fact that I'm choosing to not do something because I don't have it in me to smash my face against a wall.
Yep.
And so there is, I think, value to not looking at a clock or modifying based on how you feel or something like that. But I would also be the first to say I was not at my best in terms of achieving a training stimulus for that day. And I'll never try to make that argument.
Right. And I'm in the same boat. Like I've said this too when I did like a presentation for our coaching staff at CrossFit Tilt about how like intensity can look different.
Yes.
Like intensity doesn't need to be you rolling around on the ground in agony after a workout. Intensity could be I'm working on this skill and I'm giving it 100% of like my attention and focus. Like that static, the isometric at the top of a pull-up, that can be intense if you're just like squeezing as hard as you can, you're focusing on your positions and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Like that is a version of intensity. It doesn't have to be, making you cry after a workout. So yeah, but
Well, and I think, and we've mentioned this a lot. A lot of it comes down to like, what are your training goals? And maybe you don't know.
yeah,
You know, like I know plenty of people who are like, this is the reason they have a coach. This is the reason they join an affiliate, is so that they can outsource the brain
thinking.
power.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't want to think about that shit. You go think about that shit. This is what I pay you for.
Yep.
Which is 100% fine.
Yeah.
I think the natural extension to that is, if you don't want to ask yourself what you're training for and you just want to be told, hey, go do this, right?
Yep.
You abdicate responsibility for that. I say that, and it is a good thing. It provides people like me and people like Kevin, people like many great coaches we know, a method and a means to do our thing and to change your life. We love that, right?
Yep.
But also do your homework and make sure you end up with a qualified person doing that, hopefully, right? And sometimes you don't have a choice. I've been
Yep.
to affiliates where they're the only fucking affiliate within 100 miles.
Yep.
And
this is what you got.
This is what you got. And I have seen some shit. And
I mean, we all have.
Sure. Like
Yeah.
I look at some of those things, and like, we abdicate responsibility. We pay for access to go to a gym, so they have the equipment, they have the coaches, they teach us how to do the thing. And some affiliates that I've been to are one step removed from a functional fitness open gym.
Yep.
Like what that person
Yeah.
was providing could not be called instructive.
Right.
And and so the hope and the goal is that when you abdicate the responsibility to another party, they're going to do that thing for you and they're going to be compensated for that. And I hope that's the case. I hope that's what you end up with. But if you abdicate the responsibility, it is also likely that you end up in a position where you don't get what it is that you want because someone else doesn't know how to communicate to you, hey, this is the best path to get there. Right.
Yep.
And so then we end up in a situation where, again, we're scaling for trainers instead of scaling for the athletes. The trainer says, hey, go do this thing.
Yeah.
Because the trainer's got it in their head. This is a good thing. Let's do
Yeah.
this thing.
Let's do this.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you do that thing? Well, for a number of reasons, maybe. And I don't want to poo-poo anybody doing fitness, right?
Right. Yep.
I really, and like, this is hard for me. Like, I want to tell you, yay for fitness.
Yep. You did it.
And I'm not making a one-to-one comparison between, I'm about to make an example with my child. I'm not saying that people who do fitness the way that we're talking about are children. That's not what I'm saying. But in terms of learning how to do something and then learning to do something better so that we can be better at that thing and more efficient at that thing and we can progress our skills and stuff like that. When my son, like, smears Cheerios and milk all over his face as he's trying to eat,
Yep.
I don't tell him what he did wrong. I say, good job, buddy. You know?
Yeah.
And the hope is progressively over time,
he learns not to smash
like
milk into his face.
and like, so that he can move on and he can have, sausage and eggs and bacon or whatever, oatmeal, honey, like whatever he wants. But like, he spends less time with his face sticky because he doesn't like when his hands and his face are sticky.
Yeah.
So it creates a complicated situation.
Yeah.
In the same way, these people who are doing fitness, when we say Fran is a 6-minute workout or 5-minute, sub 5-minute workout, whatever, when we make a statement like that, we're not saying that's the only way it has to be done. What the subtext behind it is, if you tell me you want to get fitter, as defined by CrossFit, i.e. increase work capacity across broad time and modal domains, I'm going to tell you that when Fran pops up, you want your finishing time to be 5 or 6 minutes or less.
Yep.
The way you get there is by doing X, Y, and Z.
Yep.
I want it to look like a couple things. I want it to feel a very specific way. And that feeling is universal, regardless of your fitness level. Because if you get to that feeling, you have gotten the correct stimulus.
Yep.
You know?
And you will be improving your fitness level. So,
absolutely.
you know,
and if you tell me to go pound sand and you want to do a 16-minute Fran, okay.
Yeah.
But then what you're doing is you're saying, like, the roundabout way is, I don't want to get fit.
Right.
And maybe it's not fit as defined by CrossFit.
Yeah.
And like maybe that's not your focus that day or whatever. But like, if I tell you do a 6-minute Fran, I'm not trying to ruin your workout.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, so as soon as you gave like the analogy of your son eating the cereal, and it's like he doesn't like to be like have his hands and face sticky, but he's doing it. It's like, okay, so you're telling me that, you know, you don't like that you're unfit, but you're not learning to aim better with the spoon. You're just continuing to smash Cheerios and milk all over your face and then wondering, well, how come my hands and face keep getting sticky?
That is beautiful. I love you. If I didn't love you, I would love you now. And like, and so now we get into the best and most entertaining and fun part about coaching, which is human behavior.
Yeah.
You tell me you want to be fit. I tell you how to do the thing.
Yeah.
You say, I don't want to do that.
Yep.
And then you go do your own thing. And then 6 months, a year, 18 months later, you say, I'm upset because I'm not fit.
Yeah. Yeah. Man.
And every coach, every coach who might listen to this knows exactly what the fuck I'm talking about.
Well, that's, like from a nutrition standpoint. So like it's, take the example of,
that's without talking about nutrition.
Like, someone says, I'd like to lose weight. Okay, great. You're going to do these things for your nutrition.
Yes.
They don't do those things.
Yeah.
They don't lose the weight they want.
Yes.
And then they assume that, well, diets just don't work for me, and I'm just genetically supposed to be like this. I'm like, maybe, because I can't say no, but if you didn't do the thing, you can't get the result.
Yeah.
And so, like in the same vein of like just, human behavior being the most interesting thing is, I want to do this. Okay, great. Do this then. And people go, nah. Then when they don't get the results they're looking for or looking at, like they're disappointed. And it's like, well, I understand you're disappointed that you didn't get what you're looking for out of it, but did you do the thing? Yes or no? One of my favorite quotes that's been posted on Instagram a million times is that the key to the like results you're looking for is hidden in the work that you don't want to do. And I was like, wow, what a quote.
Well,
it's true.
It reminds me of the Thomas Edison quote. People miss opportunity because it comes dressed in overalls and look like work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Oh man, that's a good one. That's a good one. Miss a bunch of opportunities because it comes in overalls dressed like work. Yep.
Yeah. And like, and there, well, and this is why, and we talked about this previously, when you get a Marcus Philly, and you look at a Marcus Philly, Marcus, genetically gifted or not, and to be sure, he is 100% genetically gifted. Like, that homeboy was built to look like that.
Yep. He was going to look like Marcus if he chose to be a ping pong player.
Right? The genome, like from Marcus. The genome up.
Yeah. Shredded.
But he also worked really fucking hard for years and years and years. And you look at a guy like that. You look at a guy like Jay Cutter. You look at a guy like, someone like Katrin David's daughter. Yeah. You look at
insert any CrossFit Games athlete here.
He doesn't even have to be a CrossFit Games athlete. Dana Lynn Bailey.
Like any professional athlete, any bodybuilder, any like C-Bum just won his 5th Olympia this weekend.
5?
Yeah, fifth one.
Chris Bumstead, absolute machine.
Chris Bumstead, just absolute monster. he just won his 5th Olympia in the classic category. And I mean, he sat there and he was like, and this was cool. Like he posted about it and was like, I went into this year like I was, wanting to win and wanting to do the things that needed to happen to win, but
Yep.
I wasn't going to give up like these certain things. So like I was trying to find a better balance and try and have more of a less psychotic head on my shoulders type
Yeah.
deal. And he was like, I'm proud of this is something that like hit where it's like, it's about the journey, not the destination. He
Mm-hmm.
was like, I'm proud of this victory, but I'm more proud of the person I was able to become over the year of like learning and developing. Like I'm more proud of who I became in the process
Yeah.
than I am of like the trophy on the day. Like it's amazing to win, and I'm so happy and so proud to be able to have accomplished this.
Sure.
But the journey, the evolution that happened in the pursuit of that was what he was most proud of. And like I felt that because in my like in my pursuit of my level 3, I remember talking with some coaches about it. Like I was doing a whole bunch of like development and feedback and whatever with
Mm-hmm.
James and Lachlan.
Mm-hmm.
And Lachlan was on seminar staff at the time, so we would do like methodology talks and stuff at like the whiteboard and go through all the things. And I sat there and someone's like, oh, like, well, like, don't you think you know the stuff well enough? You could just go. I'm like, yeah, well, but like passing the test won't make me a better coach, but I will become a better coach in my pursuit of like taking the test, essentially, was kind of how I phrased it. And yeah, go ahead.
Learning how to handstand walk won't make you fitter, but the pursuit of learning
Of
how to
learning how to
handstand
handstand
walk
walk
will
is what makes
garner
me
a
fit. Yeah.
fitness you will not get without it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Also, go learn how to handstand walk, people.
yeah, go learn how to handstand walk. And so, yeah, I just thought that was, you know, sometimes it's not the result, it's the journey of like who we become in the trying to get there. And, but, um,
Ah, I got
yeah,
to
go
think.
ahead. Good. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Finish your thought because I'm going to button this
No,
bad
because
boy.
I fully lost my thought. Like it left my brain.
Sorry.
I
Sorry. I
left
didn't
my
mean to
brain.
do
No,
that.
no, go ahead.
Okay. So,
Put a button on whatever you're putting a button on.
so then let's bring it back to the people with the Fran time, right?
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
do the thing,
Yeah.
but also, like, if you're doing a 12-minute Fran,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Or a 16-minute Fran or a 23-minute Fran, right?
Yeah.
That tells me something about what your fitness looks like,
Mm-hmm.
And maybe this guy did strict pull-ups. Maybe like barbell thrusters and strict pull-ups, and like Fran is ubiquitous enough. The 21-15-9 modality,
Yep.
whatever, is ubiquitous enough now that people aren't surprised when they see stuff like that. And so do the thing. But in terms of like the journey itself, you're gonna if you keep coming back and you keep doing the thing, you're gonna get fitter for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But you're gonna grow as a human. And like I want you to grow as a human alongside your fitness.
Yep.
And you can do that a lot of different ways. You can do that um, in ways that are more efficient or less efficient. You can do that
Yep.
in ways that are in an affiliate or not in an affiliate. You can do that in ways that, where you've got a very high level coach or not. But part of that journey, part of that getting better is always going to be trying to improve
Mm-hmm.
in the macro or in the micro, in the
Yep.
immediate or in the distant future or something like that. And so, like, just like you become a better coach in the pursuit and completion of your level 3, I want these people to become fitter humans. Part of that process is going to be okay, so like let's call this Fran his
Yep.
level 3 exam, right?
Yep.
He did things in order to fill out, like if you accomplish a Fran in 23 minutes, like
Yep.
you completed the entire exam
Yep.
for sure, right?
Yep. You did, Fran.
Did you get 100 on it?
Nope. You didn't
Probably
pass.
not. Maybe you didn't pass. Like if you did strict pull-ups and you did fucking
Well,
45 strict pull-ups, well, different ball game, bro.
yeah, different ball game. Yep.
You know? And also, like, does your life need to be that hard? And like, then there's the skill thing. And have you ever been taught? And are you just like in a fucking Globo gym, like repping out strict pull-ups and
you're running back and forth between like the barbell's way in this corner, but then like the
Yes.
pull-up bar is like across the gym, and you're like,
and like that dude who he took 14 minutes longer? Well, it's probably because someone stole his barbell and his cast iron 25 fucking pound plates.
yep. He
You
goes
know?
back to the platform and goes, "Where the fuck did my bar go?"
Right? Like, and he's like, oh, God damn it. I got to run and go. He's like looking at his watch trying to be like, oh, shit, this is going to ruin my time.
He's
Maybe that was
grabbing a safety
exactly what
squat bar
happened.
and chucking plates and just like, I got a thrust or something. Just
Fuck it, grab 50-pound dumbbells.
yeah. Oh,
What?
I'll also die on this hill that like a pair of 50 or 35 dumbbell thrusters is not equivalent to a 95, 65 pound thruster with a barbell. Not even
no.
remotely fucking close. But that's like the
No.
standard. They're
I
like,
cons-
oh, we'll do. They're like,
I
oh, we'll
consider-
do devil's presses with a pair of 50s. I'm like, no.
I consider 50, 35
Yeah.
the barbell equivalent to be like
135,
115.
95.
Not 135.95, but like 115.105.
It feels as hard
Or
as 135.95.
115.85.
It feels as hard as 135.95. So I'm going to tell myself that when I'm doing
Yeah.
50 pound dumbbell thrust, I'm like, wow, I'm doing really good.
And especially if you like dumbbell clean and jerk. Ugh.
Horrible. The worst.
Yeah. Well, if I was going to give someone a piece of advice coming out of this,
Yeah.
yes, do the fitness, but also like longer term, there are better ways to do the fitness.
Yep.
Like you can learn how to handstand walk by just throwing your body at the floor.
Yep.
And if you do it enough times,
Eventually, you will learn how to stabilize yourself on your
Ex-
hands and like
yes.
walk around. Eventually.
is it the straightest path? Maybe not.
Well, maybe it is the straightest path. You're like, I'm going from not handstand walking to handstand walking
Okay,
by
so-
just
so-
doing a thing.
Right,
But it's
right,
like,
right.
The straightest path is also the longest path.
Yes. So it's the person who's like, I got to go to the next town over, and you walk through a fucking swamp and over a mountain to get there,
Yeah.
as opposed to walking through the mountain pass.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
And the mountain pass might take a little longer, but it's going to be a hell of a lot easier, and it's still going to get you there.
Yep.
I respect people who want to make their lives harder. Also, you don't have to make your life that much harder.
Yeah. Say like if I was going to give like a last parting piece of advice, I'll tell us in math this all the time. No one ever got less fit by going lighter and faster. If you do Fran with an empty barbell and jumping pull-ups,
Yep.
and you do it in like 2 minutes and 45 seconds,
Yes.
you didn't get less fit. I'll tell you that.
No.
So that's
For
always my thing is like, always err on the side of like modifying this a little bit, because no one ever got less fit going lighter and faster.
Amen to that. We should all go lighter and faster every once in a while. I did that.
We
I did that
should.
today.
We should.
What was it? It was the cap workout. It was 4 rounds for time. 15 bar facing burpees, 15 front squats at 115, 85, and 75 double unders.
Oh, gross.
And like for me, one of my goals recently is like I have a lot of hats and I spend a lot of things, and it's like I just want to do more regularly, and
Yeah.
so like I have to scale back so
Yep.
that like I have to make it like acceptable so that the next morning I can come back and I can do the same thing tomorrow morning and I can do the same
Yep.
thing the next morning. And so my solution was 4 rounds instead of 15 bar facing burpees. I'm doing 10 bar facing burpees.
Sure.
Front squats at 95 pounds instead of 115.
Yep.
And instead of 75 double unders, it's 50 double unders.
Yeah.
And in my garage, alone by myself, that was what it needed to be in order for me to do the thing. And I'm relatively certain that I'm not going to feel so fucked that I can't come back tomorrow and also do another workout.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And coming back tomorrow and doing another workout is way more important than whatever my time on this workout was.
Than shaving 20 seconds off your, because like sometimes like that's what it is. Like if like going from like fifth gear to sixth gear is like, okay, you finish that workout 30 seconds faster. Like 30 seconds probably isn't going to like make or break your fitness, you know? So yeah, I love that. It allows you to come back the next day and be less broken.
Yeah. And over time, I'm going to win way the fuck more than a person who only
Yeah.
comes in one day a week. And not that
Yeah.
it's a competition, but
Yeah.
I'm competing with myself, and the people who are going to win is going to be my wife and kids. That's
Yep.
the way I look at it.
Yeah. There we go. I love
Yeah.
that. Scaling is cool, people.
Scaling is cool.
Scaling is cool.
I did. I put a video. I did an Instagram live. I'm like, fuck it, I'll do an Instagram live recently, and it was so bad. It was it was 21:15:9.
Yeah.
Hang power cleans 15:12:9. Strict handstand push-ups,
Ooh.
and and so I'm like, that volume of strict handstand push-ups is outside my capability. But I love the idea of doing parallel work because it's full range of motion.
Right.
So I'm gonna do 21:15:9. Instead of 135, I did 95 because I want to be able to go big sets on the hang power clean, and then instead of 15:12:9, I'm gonna go. I think I tried to go 15:12:9.
Okay.
And it fell apart so fast. Like after that first round of parallel pike push-ups, I was like, nope, not happening. It is not 15:12:9. It's 12:9:6.
Yeah.
And I think I actually said out loud in my fever dream state, "Yay, scaling!" You know?
Yeah.
Because like that's what it had to be.
Scaling. Yeah.
Oh God, I got wrecked.
I did. I was looking at so CrossFit.com last week on, I think it was Wednesday, was 21:15:9 of 30-inch box jumps and 12:9:6 of clean and jerk at 185. And I sat there and I was like, this is my jam. I was like, singles, like a barbell that's heavy enough that you have to do singles on anything is like, I don't want to do multiple reps in a row. I would like to do singles. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then like, I'm good at box jumps. So I'm like, let's get some. So it starts with the 21 box jumps. I'm cruising. I get to the 12 clean and jerks and I finish the 12 clean and jerks. Not that it was like a walk in the park, but I was like, do a rep, drop the bar, take a breath, hands on it, do a rep, drop the bar, cruising through. I get to my 15 box jumps and I started jumping. I got to like 7 and I stood up on top of the box and like just hunched over and just like done. And then from there it was just miserable, just like kind of slogging my way through. And like went decently well, but I was like, oh dear Lord, like this was gnarly. But I did again, like the travel thing. There was the workout on Saturday for .com was supposed to be Sean, which is run 5 miles in 5-minute increments. So you basically run as far as you can in 5 minutes. As soon as your 5 minutes is done, you stop. You do 50 squats and 50 push-ups before you start the next 5-minute chunk. And you just go through that as many times as it takes you to run 5 miles.
Bro.
Yeah. Messed up. And so in like the scaling notes, it's like trying to keep this to like, 6 rounds or so of like going through that. And I'm like, okay, so it'd be like essentially running like 3/4 of a mile-ish every 5-minute span, which is like, that's a tough pace. Like that's not doable, but that's hard. But also like I'm on vacation. I'm visiting family, so I didn't have the most amount of time to like, I can just take 90 minutes to do this workout, or between like warm up and actually like doing it.
Yeah.
And so they live in like a cul-de-sac type area, and so like I did like a little measure around the cul-de-sac, around like the little loop, and it was like 450 meters, and I was like, okay. I'm going to do, in my head, I was like, I'm going to do because it's supposed to be a longer workout. I was like, I'm just going to like quick warm up and then just do like 35 or 30-minute AMRAP of run 450 and then 25 squats, 25 push-ups.
Okay.
And then I start going and I see where I finished in the first round. And I'm going to get way more than 6 rounds. I was like, I finished my first round like 3.5 minutes. I'm like, I'm not doing 8 rounds of this.
No.
So I'm like, okay, let's make it a 25-minute AMRAP. Let's take it 5 minutes off. And I start my next round. I see where I'm at. I'm like, you know what? let's just do 6 rounds for time.
Yep.
It's like it changed like 3 times during the workout, but stimulus was achieved. If it was a longer workout, I think it took like 24 minutes.
Yep.
I got my running, I got my squats and my push-ups. It's like from start to finish, it was like 40 minutes of fitness stuff. And I was like, fitness happened.
I love it. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, go make fitness happen, people. But
Yep.
also, scale. Scaling's cool.
Scaling is cool.
Yes.
Scaling is cool. I might need to do some scaling today. Workout
With
I'm doing
Liam?
today. Well, so no, so I'm breaking my rule just a little bit so I'm gonna shuffle things around just a tad. So I have a good friend of mine, Cam, who lives here in California.
Okay.
Shut up. So good friend Cam lives in California. I've haven't seen him since like end of 2019 maybe, when he came to Boston to train.
Roger that.
And so I'm going to his gym today because I'm like, he's got time, I've got time. Like I'm probably not gonna be on the West Coast for a while because baby. And so legit. It's like, we're going to get together and we're going to do coffee in the fitness. And so he was like, we're going to bench press first. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, I have to do the main site, whatever it is. And he goes, let me ask James. So he gets like some CrossFit.com workouts for James that like fit within Cam's thing. He's like, well, today is Liam. Tomorrow is Holly Man.
Yes.
And so
I love Holly Man.
And so he's like, would you mind doing Holly Man today and then doing Liam, like just flip-flopping those because it worked better for Cam? And I was like, sure, why not?
Holly Man is 30 rounds, right?
Yeah, it's 30 rounds, 5 wall balls, 3 handstand push-ups, 1 power clean at 225.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I can power clean 225. Can I keep like the cycle speed up with it at 225? We'll find out, I guess, but good to fair chance that barbell ends up more in like the 185 to 205 range.
Yeah.
Because Cam also wants to do it as like strict handstand push-ups instead of kipping, which checks out. I mean, Cam is like a shooting for semifinals type athlete. So I'm like, checks out.
Tell him to do them wall facing. Stop being a bitch.
Maybe I might. Because I'll do them wall facing. I'm fine.
There you go.
I'm good with that. As long as I can cartwheel into that. I hate wall walking into it.
It's so bad.
Ridiculous. But
what you got to learn how to do is you got to learn how to kick up directly and then pirouette.
That would be a party trick and a half. I probably could do that. I don't know.
I watched a video of Pam Gagnon do it once where she's like facing the wall. She's like, oh yeah, you just kick up and face the wall, like handstand, pirouette, and back straight up into the wall. I'm like, fucking son of a, that'd be the solution for everybody who knew how to do that.
Yeah. Maybe I'll try and do it and send you a video of my attempts. But yeah.
All right. Well, that's fine. Go have fun with that then.
Yeah. Good scaling.
Yeah. All right, homie. Well, good to talk with you. Enjoy California. And to anyone who's out there listening, scaling is awesome. Continue to wrap your thumbs. Don't listen to Kevin. And
don't listen to me. I don't know much.
We'll talk to you later, everybody. See yous.
See ya.